We should only admit into this country those who share our values and respect our people. In the Cold War, we had an ideological screening test. The time is overdue to develop a new screening test for the threats we face today. I call it extreme vetting.
Monday, Republican nominee Donald Trump laid out his plans to fight terrorism, and parts of his speech promised to ban immigration from countries where terrorism is widespread and vetting is poor, and introduce an ideology test for immigrants arriving here in the United States. Now, Trump called it, as you just heard there, extreme vetting. Here to discuss this, Dr. Jasser, founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Thank you very much for joining us. And your thoughts on his speech.
Well, I'll tell you, finally, we got past this blanket ban of Muslims and starting to get accurately to preventing those who would come in as insurgents who don't believe in our ideology. In every war we fought, we brought in those who want freedom, who believe in our ideas, be it World War II, from Germany, from Italy, etc., be it the Vietnam War, those who were anti-communist, but we didn't bring in the communists in the Cold War. Similarly, right now, welcome Muslims, but don't bring in jihadists, don't bring in Islamists, and he started to bring his crosshairs on the right part, talked about developing a commission against radical Islam versus just this violent extremism. Now, he used the term extreme vetting, which wasn't in his prepared remarks, so again, when he went off script, he got a little sloppy, but the bottom line is that we're finally starting to have a campaign that's talking about the real issues of security.
And when he talks about that vetting process, he says they would look at issues like stances on religious freedom, gender equality, and gay rights. Is that the proper direction to go to find out if somebody is a terrorist?
Well, our Muslim Reform Movement has a two-page declaration that has some of those issues in it. And I think if you look at the terrorist attacks in Paris and Belgium, for example, ask them, do you think you can openly criticize the Prophet Muhammad and draw cartoons? Look at their online footprint. Right now, we're doing no ideological vetting at all. I mean, even at the last rally with Hillary Clinton, behind her was sitting the father of Omar Mateen, who had online videos praising the Taliban, attacking America. So these ideologies, it's not a constitutional right to come to America. These are not citizens. So we should vet for ideologies publicly that they display, and also ask them questions regarding certain things that are core principles of American freedom.
Many people concerned and worry that this creates some sort of slippery slope, that we say, hey, we can let these people in, not these people, and really the lines become blurred.
This is why we have to have a national conversation about it and continue to hold our leaders accountable to what that means. Our Statue of Liberty, meaning that we welcome those who believe in our ideas as the city on a hill, needs to mean something, and we can't change that. So yes, there is a slippery slope, but it doesn't mean we don't vet and we just open the doors. Right now, studies have shown 13% of refugees have sympathies for ISIS. I, as a Muslim, my family in Aleppo and Damascus don't want people from the ISIS areas rushing down. They want to know what side they're on. America should really be no different, but we can't just ban all Muslims, but we can vet for those who share our ideology.
When you talk about that counterterrorism approach, President Bush had a similar approach right after 9/11. However, he kind of shied away from it as we got into it because he couldn't properly implement it.
Yeah, I think what the problem was is initially he was very right in that we need to counter Islamism. But the problem is that the lobbyists in Washington, the Saudi sympathizers, all don't want us to talk about Islam, talk about reform. So they blocked it and turned it into countering violent extremism, which has proven to be a complete failure. The downside of Mr. Trump's speech this week was he sort of showed sympathies to Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, Assad, Russia. So if you want to work with real reformers, as he mentioned multiple times, we have to have a strategy that marries domestic security against the threat with foreign policy that works with our same allies that believe in our same ideas on the ground. And President Bush began that, and that was even before the Arab awakening. Right now, there are nascent revolutions happening in the Middle East that we are ignoring and letting that vacuum get filled by Russia. Right? By the way, this week, Russia launched missiles from Iran into Syria. So as we sit back, we see people who he said we have common ground with actually working with our greatest enemies.
All right. Always some good insight. Thank you very much for taking the time this morning.
Thanks, Javier.